down, you constantly become tankier and tankier. So even these, really squishy, high mobility, high damage brawlers turn into these tanky, threats, and they're so hard to kill. So especially, if we get to bounty, like that is definitely a game mode where you don't want to have to deal with that. And the bunker is also really quite powerful. So no surprises there. Another Poco ban. So still not going to see any of him today. Very simple, but of course the healing that he can provide with the capo is just, I mean, it's insane if anyone wants to play these durable brawlers. But there's plenty of healing-oriented brawlers available. With Max off of the table, though, I'm interested to see, what these teams are going to take mid, if it's going to be Mr. P. And yeah, it seems like we're going to see a bit of 8-bit action here as well. But look what's open, the Byron for Trevor here.
Yeah, Byron is a really, really big, impactful brawler, which we've not yet seen today at all. It's been banned in every single instance, so definitely going to be expecting to see more of him here. And already AC Milan Clash using it to their advantage as two of FA Trio go down here. Really great aggressive start. Gee gets the ball with a couple of healing puffs, and it's a really quick early goal in the first opening 30 seconds of play.
Just looked a little bit too easy there. The lack of mobility of 8-bit ends up getting Wheel caught in the middle of the map. Trevor has to back away a little bit here. You can see Gear constantly applying pressure to Calvin, who just wants to come forward and maybe set up a turret or something simple. Mr. Lononga is very aggressive, but Wheel goes down. Now we have a 3v2 for a couple of moments. Calvin might be forced into a corner here, and Trevor constantly hitting with the poison, which means that Calvin has to wait longer to start healing in the first place.
Yeah, and for me, I've got to say, FA Trio are going to be really struggling here at the moment under the circumstances. With Byron being able to be played, I think that they've got to reconsider going in if they do lose this matchup, which at the moment, this is the best chance they've had so far. They've got to hold this position now and try to make something of it. AC Milan Clash are looking to do a quick turnaround here with a goal that quickly. You've got to ask yourself, do they want to wrap this up quickly? I would say yes.
Yeah, Will obviously now a bit more of a threat with the speed boost when he's close to his damage booster, and you see a couple times now that the rather squishy Byron gets caught out time and time again. Here's the dash in, but once more it goes wrong for Lanal there. Okay, Passa's able to stay alive, and Will just runs it in. That was a slow burn for FA Trio, but that's even now in goals.
Yeah, FA Trio got to be careful in this early moment, because this is where Clash capitalized last time. If they can just assert some authority, get a turret down on the map. Calvin has one now, and credit to him for that last goal. I think he had a big role to play, but going down now might deflate the potential of this push here. And to be fair to FA Trio, they're not looking to go in on the aggressive too quickly, just looking to recollect and just hold the mid control. But yeah, I think this is looking much, much better. They did not just take it lying down there.
Giga with some nice little jukes there. Will's eventually going to be able to take him down. And it looks like we might have an overtime situation here. Could be pretty dangerous for the 8-bit unless there's a damage booster available. So that speed boost is going to be very, very important. Lenar's well in a position to make a dive here and try and find a pick off on one of these FA Trio brawlers who are in overtime now. And all of those boxes disappeared. Nowhere to hide for Will. You can see just how low the 8-bit goes. The poison eventually claims it.
Yeah, Byron in overtime is such a difficult brawler to go up against. And Lanal now getting those kills and goes for the super shot potential. No passes to Calvin, choosing to hold it. And to be fair, this is a pretty decent defense from FA Trio, but can they hold it? I don't see them doing so. Lanal with the pass to Guy, and Guy scores the goal.
Perfect finish there. Gear with a little bit of class on the cross as the ball comes in. And you can see even with that speed boost, 8-bit just does not want to be out in the open for any period of time. Will such a threat early on in that round, but again, when there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, you know that that damage is going to be coming on in. I mean, you can see this is early on here. I mean, this is the 8-bit getting caught in the open. That is what's going to happen. So much front-loaded damage here for a Clash.
Yeah, 8-bit is a tricky brawler in Brawl for that same reason of lack of speed, which is definitely what AC Milan Clash had more of in these moments here. A pretty decent defense in overtime under pressure, and I think a valiant performance from FA Trio. They did not, despite taking that early goal and conceding that in the first opening 30 seconds, they actually did very well to take it all the way into overtime. And but for me, Byron is the game changer brawler in overtime, and I was able to inflict so much more area control for Clash. I think FA Trio have got to go in with that option, maybe even take out the 8-bit and go for something crazy like a Piper and really try to outrange Clash, because right now they are going in and getting the job done, I would say more often than not better.
Do you think the fact that Byron is available in this series means that playing those tanky compositions is pointless? Because obviously with his star power melees, he can cut healing in half. So, it makes those, Pam compositions maybe feel a lot less effective when she's not able to do, one of her main jobs, which is keep that team healed up.
For me, I think injection's probably the better star power, just simply because you can just line up more shots and more position. Yeah, the penetration abilities of that I think is favored more so. But yeah, you're right to say that. I think just in general, Byron's abilities to both heal and inflict damage makes him a very, very versatile brawler. It's one of the reasons why we see him being banned so frequently. And I think that it can actually aid some of the tankier comps at the same time. And depending upon the situation, you can choose to heal, you can choose to inflict damage. I just think that it's a very, very good controlling brawler. Anything with a tick over time means that you've got to go on the retreat for longer, and Clash are able to do that more often than not. I think that, yeah, FA Trio, if they're not going to pick Byron, have to think about how they're going to deal with Byron.
I mean, it's mental. You said he can either heal or do damage. He can actually do both at the same time if people line up enough for him and he has that penetration. I've noticed it. You could actually see, I think a lot of players on FA Trio are getting frustrated because they have to sit and wait just a little bit extra long for their passive healing to start coming through. I mean, Lena on the Mortis, I mean, we've heard this. It's a little bit famous, and FA Trio have got to be wary.
Yeah, got to be wary as well as, got to be honest, Kie did a fantastic show. Yeah, disgusting start. 20 seconds, by the way, for that goal. Bettering their previous record of 30 in the last round.
I mean, Gia, okay, even with the batting stance, still takes a ton of damage up front, but Lena here, the lifeblood able to give him all of that health back, and everyone on FA Trio is clumped together because they want to get the most out of the damage boost. So for Mortis, he just walks on in and just wipes the floor with FA Trio.
Great teamwork as well. Gied went pushed the hill, allowing Lenan to take out the turret, and then Trevor coming in with that shot on the turret afterwards as well. And I've got to say, I like the early signs of good communication that I'm seeing from AC Milan Clash right now. And like you rightly say, honestly, BB running batting stance with Byron is a really difficult thing. Gied gets super twice over FA Trio. Getting the job done super quickly. Oh, my goodness me. Not running Byron, I think, is a mistake in Brawl.
That is disgusting. Absolutely filthy stuff. So, completely different approach here for Clash. Now they actually want to play much more up front, right? They get the Bibi, they just run her straight in. And you kind of mentioned now when Byron can actually heal her on top of the fact that she has that shield, the natural durability, the knockback. Obviously, Clash want FA Trio to group up. That's exactly what they want when they want Mortis and Bibi to get involved. So they really kind of walk into that compositional trap, and that second round looks much less close than the first.
Yeah, it really was much less close. I think that there was definitely some brawler comps needed to be switched up for FA Trio, and they didn't really seem to do that. They were quite stubborn, I guess because the round was relatively close, but you do need to switch things up. AC Milan Clash, despite winning the round, still went in with something to kind of take FA Trio by surprise. And I've got to say, that's something which I think FA Trio needs to learn from.
All right, so Dr. Ark, if FA Trio end up in your operating table right now, what are you telling them? Do they need to take a Byron of their own? Do they just mirror the compositions? Or is there something else that they can actually use to counter this super aggressive setup, especially as we head on to Hot Zone in the next set, which is, of course, going to be about space control as well?
I think we say, Doctor, we're losing him. Stat, get the refibs.
Yeah. It's not over yet, though, of course. Still only one set down. It's a best of three, though. So your margin of error is slipping away for FA Trio.
Yeah, that's the thing. With this best of three, you don't get much time to recover. And getting that first set can really play on the minds of the team that are behind. So Hot Zone could be an opportunity for them to come back here. If they can establish more control, then they might be able to do something with this one. At the moment, though, AC Milan Clash, they do like the aggressive brawler comps. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought Max back into the mix here. But actually, looking back at my bans, Max was banned along with Amber, Konorovs, and Poco. But potential here maybe for some kind of like tankier comps. Some Rose are coming into the mix. Some Jackie maybe even as well. But for me, FA Trio have got to make some changes. They've got to be open to change and not as stubborn as we saw in Brawl Ball.
See, everybody, if you take notes like Dr. Ark, you'll get through med school. That's the best tip that we can give you today. What do you think about the Mortis pick from Mr. Lenar in general? Because me as being someone newer to Brawl Stars competitive scene, even I knew that this was something that was kind of feared. It was like people in dark corners whispered, you know, quietly as the mortars passed by. Is that a flex, or do you think that really is like one of the most optimal brawlers to take there?
Mortis is a funny one because a lot of the content creators, and Whitey comes to mind as well as a player that's very much closely linked in with Mortis, make a lot of videos of Mortis and make it look so easy, which then when you play ladder and you see a ton of people playing Mortis in places where you probably shouldn't, it becomes a lot less viable. But Lana definitely 100% plays a very strong Mortis, and often we see Mortis getting banned when the meta's a little bit more in a balanced place, just simply because it can distract so much from the objective. At the moment, though, looking at the way the FA Trio are coming into this game, very different brawlers in terms of their comps. We're seeing Spike, we're seeing Gale. Gale's great on defense, but still no Byron Uber.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be some aggressiveness from FA Trio, though, as well. Gale Force is great to push people back, but if you lack teammates, you lack the damage to actually eliminate the brawlers that you need to. All right, so both teams have taken the hot, or almost, sorry, FA Trio hasn't even taken the hot zone on their side of the map, so Clash is way ahead right now. And with Trevor and Leonard just sitting on top of this for the time being, they look very confident. 68 to 46%. Calvin goes down there. That one is going to hurt.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that AC Milan Clash are just being so aggressive and capping the harder of the zones first, and as kind of afflicting their authority, still continuing this assault over FA Trio. The score's relatively close, but I honestly don't feel that it reflects what we're seeing in terms of the gameplay, because look at this, Lanan and Trevor just hunkering down here, and this one looks like it's going to be all over very quickly.
I mean, FA Trio are too far behind. They can't go across the map to try and capture the zone on Clash's side of the field. They needed to try and shift Clash off of their hot zone, and that was not going to happen. It's so crazy, actually, in this game type arc, how quickly the first decision can impact how the entire round goes. Clash just take their hot zone, but they send Trevor forward early to just pressure FA Trio.
Yeah, absolutely that. And, you know, FA Trio just choosing some odd brawler choices. I feel like I know that Gale can be viable in hot zone, especially if you're expecting something like a big tank kind of comp that you can just kind of keep at a good range. But for me, at the moment, FA Trio getting out comped at every turn. You know, Clash are already thinking things through far better and making better decisions on the playing field.
And now there's only one more opportunity for FA Trio to show us what they're made of. Otherwise, they will be out of the March monthly finals, and Clash will advance to the semis to take on EXO free agents. That is just how quickly games can get away from you here when it is only best of 3. You need to make it to the semis to at least get a best of 5 situation. Again, FA Trio, you said they got out-comped. What do you want to see from them here? Is there anything they can sort of bring that could maybe take Clash by surprise for once?
I mean, it's almost like the bans are one way here in the sense that I just don't understand why they're not playing Byron Uber. Again, we're still one of the strongest brawlers in the meta.
Listen,
and it's just being ignored.
I respect their principles, right? They're sticking to their guns, but unfortunately the gun wasn't loaded. There's no bullets in it at all, and they're not going to be able to do anything to Clash with a replica pistol. Right now, you can see that Clash just sit on their own hot zone. Same for FA Trio. Trevor does want to try and harass K-Pasa ASAP, but takes a lot of damage from Calvin through the middle of the map. I like this, though. Ula's going to go aggressive now, trying to push up a little bit, eventually taken down by Lenar, but this is going to force Clash off of their own hot zone. This is FA Trio in a lead early.
Yeah, a great start. A much better start for FA Trio, but they've got to be able to hold this at the moment. It's kind of funny, but you sort of joined and then all of a sudden everyone started getting swept. Is there something going on there that you want to tell us about?
Listen, a wizard never really reveals his secrets. That's just the way it goes. But so far, FA Trio still have that lead. Will's able to play aggressively now, and FA Trio can just set up in Clash's part of the map. They are ahead, so they get to play forward. Gear's going to try and make his way forward here. Missing the first shot, is able to force Wheel back and finally find the kill, but takes a ton of damage, and these Robo Porters are a big problem for Jessie. She's not that durable, and K-Pasa ASAP's going to find that kill. FA Trio, a comfortable lead now, and the pressure is on for Clash.
FA Trio looking far better this time round and just working together so much more. Some great value from Calvin that I saw there to take back control. Clash struggling this time, and we might be breaking the cycle now for the first time as FA Trio get off the mark.
Woo-wee! Sigh of relief for FA Trio. They stay in the game, and look, this time they showcase a little bit of that aggression that, you know, we were wanting to see. Look how far forward they're playing. I mean, they get that early lead. They get their hot zone first, right? And now Will just wants to play right up in AC Milan's face.
Fantastic turnaround. Gale worked out far better in this instance here, and I think just using the walls a bit more and taking cover, and we noticed that FA Trio were definitely surviving in general longer for periods of time in that game. So maybe a more cautious approach and less of a kind of going all guns blazing seems to be a playstyle which works well against Clash in this instance.
You can see how important brawlers are that sort of deploy turrets or other sort of pets, right? I mean, having Mr. P there to just keep pouring on pressure in the form of those robo-porters. Yeah, they don't last long. They don't do a ton of damage, but they're annoying and they need to be dealt with. Otherwise, they start to build up in number and then they start to become a little bit scary, especially if Mr. P has a gadget to supercharge them and all of a sudden you're actually dealing with a very legitimate threat. So for Clash now, I mean, they have to have a little bit of respect for their opponents. Like you know, previously we saw a bunch of brawler picks that maybe indicated, okay, the Clash feel like they're pretty confident right now. Hot Zone seems to be the kind of map that, you know, if the enemy team gets a lead, it can feel snowbally because you can't get out of your half of the map. You know, how do you break that kind of deadlock and actually get into a position where you can contest for the lead?
Yeah, you got to break the cycle. Exactly that. You need to sort of step back a little bit, sort of just reassess things, and hear a bit of a comparison between Calvin and Lenan in that game. Definitely, I did feel like Calvin was getting a ton of value, and Jessie was working out really, really well for him. So, and again, we see on the death side of things, more so on the winning team. So, it does seem like the more aggressive you are, and as long as it's controlled aggression and calculated in terms of the timings of those takedowns, then it does seem to go in the coordination to the stats to be those that tend to die more tend to win more.
Do you find that, you know, on a map like Hot Zone where sometimes you split your team up, that maybe Byron is less impactful because, you know, he can't stack the healing on all of his teammates at once?
Yeah, the healing side of Byron tends to be kind of very specific around the moment, and I would say that it's kind of like more to try to line up the enemy on the damage side more than it's line up your opponents for the healing side. Just in general, I don't think that necessarily need to hunker down with Byron in play, but definitely you know, on the receiving end, there must be something. FA Trio have got together and said,
oh my,
what brawler do we hate the most? And
Lenar on the nita, that is kind of filthy. It doesn't work out so well early, but Gear still maintains control of the middle of the map for now.
Nita's not in a bad place. There's definitely options that are better, arguably, than her, but I'm a bit surprised to see her on this map, though, to be honest.
I mean, Gale Force just pins Nita up against the wall. No chance for her to get close enough to really get value out of her abilities. You see Trevor there use his gadget there to try and set up a porter. Lenar, I mean, whether it's faux fur or bear claws, the bear still needs to get close to K-Passer ASAP to actually do damage. All right, both teams have their own hot zones. This is where things get a bit spicy. Lenar goes aggressive, gets Calvin, but it's a trade, a 1-for-1, and K-Passer ASAP wants to get aggressive. That is a beautiful Gale Force to secure the kill on Gear. Yeah,
much better from FA Trio, getting their momentum now going on in this set. They might even be able to bring this one back, as I'm not really seeing much value from Lenar's Bears. For the moment, that was the first of it that he's got, and they went down just quick. And you know, the Gale aggression on this left-hand side lane working out so well for FA Trio here. We might see them just hanging on a little bit. The score much more reflective in favor of FA Trio now to start to gain their control.
Oh, Calvin gets aggressive. Trevor needs his robo-porter to bail him out there, and it still ends up being a trade in terms of the eliminations. Wheel plays up close. FA Trio have an early lead, get a little bit of a tick on Clash's hot zone, but then another Gale Force. Not only does it lock Lenar back, but it disables those two robo-porters for just a moment. Gia gets slowed up here, and Calvin's going to be able to run him down. This is FA Trio looking real good now.
Yeah, great turret from Calvin there, just getting so much value from these shots, and it's really causing a problem for AC Milan Clash. Now Gear's going to put his turret down, but Calvin very cautious in the range to stay away from that potential gadget moment, and comes back with one of his own and takes Gear down and avoiding the turret. Eventually Trevor gets the takedown, but my goodness, Calvin is playing a wonderful lane for FA Trio right now.
Something has to give here for AQM right now, because they are constantly being forced back into their own half of the map. Lenar's able to find a kill on Will, and this could be dangerous now. K-Passer low. Gear's able to find that one, and the bear is going to step forward. Calvin has to respect, needs to step on back here. Trevor wants to try and get some capture progress, but is a little bit afraid, and you see the K-Passer ASAP They're able to deploy one of those bouncy zones and get back into the fight a little bit quicker. This could be scary now. He tries to find his way into the back line, but Clash respond well. Now they have 3 players moving up onto the hot zone, and this could be the turnaround they were looking for.
This could be an opportunity for sure here, as it's going to be looking like it's going to get a little bit closer. Now is camping on that left-hand side, and now he's contested, but bear with me, coming in so well for him, giving that additional healing quality. Now the score's looking a much tighter affair as the Gale Super comes in, trying to stun things backwards. Clash will take it.
I mean, it was close, but once Mr. Lenar makes that treacherous journey across the map, can deploy a bear, all of a sudden that Nita becomes much scarier of a threat. I mean, Clash put themselves in a position where they lead in terms of capture progress, so there's nothing that really could be done by FA Trio except stand and fight the bear. And with Faux Fur, that is a very tanky target. It's like a 4th brawler on the field, and when your team is good at sort of controlling space but not necessarily super high damage, it takes a long time to get that furry threat off of the board.
Yeah, I've got to say that I'm still surprised to have seen it at all. I don't really know at what point Nita comes before Byron in the meta, but it did seem to work. I think that they were quite specific around where they utilized the Nita pick, and throwing the bear towards the Jessie for me, I think made a lot of sense. Jessie having such limited HP damage when there's not really anyone else to inflict the damage upon on the ricochet shots. I think that did force back on a couple of occasions FA Trio, and made some sense. I just felt like it was maybe an interesting choice over Byron.
I think if you're a fan of Clash, you get to, you get a lot of what you want in this series, right? You get to see some of those flex brawler picks from your favorite players. You get to see them maybe mess around a little bit at the start of the series, but eventually they get serious and they're able to make maybe a sort of off-meta pick like that Nita here work for them off the back of their communication and some of that mechanical prowess. That is kind of what you're looking for when you're a fan of this team, and I know there are many fans of Clash. They will be advancing into our second semi-final to go up against XO free agents. So now we're getting to the point in this competition arc where quality teams are all that stands, and all the competition as we head into best of 5s is going to be really tight.
Yeah, that is the end of the best of three now. So this gives teams a chance to be able to come back under pressure, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how they adapt to that advantage. And we see maybe some more back and forths and many more game modes to be able to potentially be